Some people say the Sunshine Award program don't only recognize the creators of this art form and pay tribute to the current ones, and all of them as a matter of fact, but we also are in the educating business. Welcome CHALKDUST, a historian, a calypsonian, an author, and CHALKDUST is our host of the Hall of Fame for Calypso and Steel Band music.
A pleasant good night, ladies and gentlemen. Every year, this is our sixth occasion, I've had the honor of presenting these outstanding men and women who by their examples and their standards and ideals have paved the way for us calypsonians and pan men. And we follow them and we commend them to our Hall of Fame. Tonight I have the pleasure of nominating 5 more persons. My first nominee tonight, or our first nominee, is Carlton Ziegler Constantine. Carlton Ziegler Constantine was one of the early pioneers of the steel band movement. He not only played in steel bands in the days when the instruments could be described as garbage cans and a cacophony of noise-making pots, pans, horns, and tubes, but he was one of the first persons to defend the pan, in that he was arrested time and again between 1939 and 1950 for daring to play steel band music on the streets. Branded as one of the rogues and bajans who defied the ban on African instruments by magistrates, Ziegler defended in court his right to assemble in public, his right to play the music of his choice, and indeed his right to be regarded as a citizen in every sphere of human activity. Because of his stubbornness and tenacity, the middle and upper classes, including the police and the judiciary, slowly came around to recognize the steel band as an instrument. Tonight we nominate our Hall of Fame, Carlton Ziegler Constantine. Our second nominee in the world of steel band is Mr. George Yates. In the early 1950s, when pan men sought to fight for their turfs and displayed violence towards one another in an effort to gain status, recognition, and the basic requirements for human living, George Yates was called by the then Premier Eric Williams and was asked to institute measures to stop the internal feuds. George, as an ex-captain of desperados, not only was instrumental in bringing about peace among the warring bands, but was named the advisor to the government on steel band affairs. His post was instrumental in gaining for the pan men untold benefits: drums, panyards, sponsors, uniforms, and shows. A strong disciplinarian, George helped to emphasize the organization of the panyard and the pan movement. And through his motivation as well as his post, the status of the pan player and movement was lifted. He died in July this year, 1994, of a heart attack, which most people believed came about because of his busy involvement in the steel band movement. We commend to the Hall of Fame, George Yates. Their certificates will be passed on to his certificate, I should say, will be passed on to the hostages of his fortune. Our third nominee is Mr. Hugh Boyd. Hugh is one of the pioneers. I gave him a round of applause, he deserves it. Hugh is one of the pioneers of the early steel band. He has been involved in pan as a player and organizer since the early 1940s, and in fact became the captain of the Tripoli Steel Band in 1948, a post which he still holds today. In terms of steel band's development, Hugh has seen it all: the iron band, the early pan tuning efforts, the feuding, the fight to establish the pan, the interferences by the police and the state, the use of the pan movement by the government of Trinidad and Tobago as a tool for nationalism, the different changes in the instrument, the development and progress of the steel band organization. Hugh has toured extensively the US, Europe, and the Caribbean, and has blended the pan with the piano of world-famous Liberace and other top American entertainers. Every year since his sojourn to the US, Hugh has returned to Trinidad to play, to learn, to give Trinidadians the benefit of his rich organizational expertise, and to judge the various steel band competitions. Through his knowledge of the market, Many panmen today have gained jobs overseas. Many panmen hold prominent positions in cities worldwide. And pan has reached the ears of a greater multitude of music-loving patrons. Tonight we nominate Mr. Hubert. He's here with us. You come and take a bow. On behalf of CALYPSO and STEELBAND Awards, I'm proud to hand you this gift.
I don't like to sit down, you know. When you sit, you get old. I must thank first the members of the STEELBAND and CALYPSO Awards Committee, Mr. GIL FIGARO and Joe Brown. And a special thanks to my family who are all here. I am accepting this here this evening, not only for Hubert, but for all my friends who struggle together with me from year after year to keep the name of the STEELBAND in the heights where it has reached today. Just imagine, years ago in the early stages, I was regarded as an outcast. Today I stand here inducted into the Hall of Fame for Pan. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Hugh. Our fourth nominee in the world of Calypso now is Carlton Gumbs, the mighty Spitfire. Spitfire took the alias Spitfire mainly because of his powerful voice and his determination to bring down his enemies, if necessary, by the fire of his lyrics. He spanned the period 1940 to 1987, and when he died, he was yet an active member of Sparrow's OIB. As a trolley bus driver, he would notice happenings and events around Port of Spain and then put them into song. Always well dressed in three-piece suits, mittens, and walking stick, proud Spitfire was named Best Dressed Calypsonian in 1969 at the Calypso Theatre. And although he never won a Calypso Monarch title, he won the Road March on 2 occasions consecutively in 1952 and 1953 with his songs Post, Post, Another Letter for Thelma, and Bow Wow Wow. If you know them, let us sing a line of him. You know them? You know this one? Post, post, another letter for. Listen to the mighty Spitfire. Post, post, another letter. Everybody sing out the mighty Spitfire. Post, post. You know this one? Bow, wow, wow. Where you going now, now, now? Bow, wow, wow. Come go and bow, wow, wow. He was speaking to the prostitutes. Bow, wow, wow. Where you going now, now, now? Bow, wow, wow. Come go and bow, wow, wow. You know this one? Oh no, Mr. Fox. No mash up the music. He was speaking to his girlfriend. Mr. Fox. No mash up the music. The mighty Spitfire by the Hall of Fame. Last but not least, mighty unknown Julian Payne. The mighty unknown began his singing career at the age of 22 in a tent in Port of Spain, Trinidad. At this tent, he sang with other stalwarts such as J.J. Horry, Executor, Young Hero, Pretender, and King Albany. In the early 20s, he was a chanterelle, and this prepared him in a special way for the Calypso world. He saw his role as a Calypsonian as one to provide melodies for the carnival bands to sing while displaying their costumes. Unknown began composing Calypso at the age of 17. And those Calypsos he gave away to other singers because his parents were prominent Roman Catholics, and they objected to his involvement in the art form. Many would recall that as far as the Catholic Church was concerned, it was a serious offense to sing Calypso. Catholics saw participation in the art form as a wound in Christ's side and in the Sacred Heart of his mother. It was this stigma that caused Unknown to be at that time unknown. It was this stigma that caused other singers to steal his songs. In fact, the very first time he chanted with the band Hit the Deck Sailor, he had to borrow a pants to sing, leaving home dressed would have caused suspicion. Some of his better-known calypsos included Cleanliness is Next to Godliness, Tina Loshi Thomas Flask, and Nettie Nettie, whom Lion claims is his own unknown person. He told me he composed it. Unknown was also known as an extempore king, and many experts in the art refused to challenge him. It is also on record that he extempored one day with King Mike, Sonny Claw, and Old Man Chico from 1 p.m. on Saturday to 8 a.m. on Sunday morning. He was one of the original members of the Calypso Association. He won the first bi-local competition in 1977, and he devoted 47 years of his life to the art form until his death in 1979. I want to give an example of his song. Derek Walcott one day said in Port of Spain that all Trinidadians' love was calypso and sex. And Unknown answered him back in the good old Miami key. Unknown said, I vex. Derek Walcott said Trinidad is calypso and sex. I vex. Till I forget I vex. Derek Walcott said Trinidad is calypso and sex. Derek, go back to St. Lucia, your mother country. There you see all kinds of sexuality. Man marrying man, and it's still a lila. And Derek wouldn't say a thing about St. Lucia. I forget the best. The mighty unknown to the Hall of Fame. Finally, I've been asked by the organizers to give the audience 2 verses of the Calypso I won called the Calypso King competition, the World Calypso King competition a few months ago. Thank you very much. We don't have any chorus group tonight, but you can answer me. The chorus is very simple. It's just that good and that bad. We have a slang in Trinidad on the radio station. I want to introduce it tonight to you from the Caribbean. When there is something that we like, we say that good in Trinidad. And when we don't like a thing, we use this slang that bad. So now let's look at some local things and to them apply our bad. Using my slang that good and that bad. Let's go. New York is a nice, nice place. That good, that good. You find people of every creed and race. That good. But I don't like them fellas from immigration. That bad. When I read you, just ask me too much damn question. That bad. When Russian Jews come to the USA, Yankees that fix them and house them up right away. That good, yes. But we Caribbean people have been so hard. We have to wait 7 years to get that damn green card. That bad and that bad. I'll give you another person to like. Anything happening that's good, you will find some bad. And while some people shout for joy, you will find some sad. Take for instance Percy Sledge. They came to Trinidad recently. Do you know that they were paid $100,000 salary? But I'm singing for 20 years now, and if you add up all the money I had, I'm getting 1/10 of Percy Sledge pay. And that American troops chase Saddam away. That go. For his crime, they made Saddam pay. That go. But Saddam costing the Americans plenty money. That bad. $1 million a day to feed the US Army. That bad. Well, Sunshine Awards, my dear friends, every year they giving awards to high Sonians. That good, yeah. But GIL FIGARO tells me that this thing is yet. No high Sonian has seen one he has yet. That God. Well, the world was very sad to hear that Sparrow sick. And news of this sickness reached the whole public. I felt very sad, you see, to know my partner unhappy. Even people in Woodford Square praying that his ulcer disappear. But one fella in a newspaper said that Sparrow had cancer. Another one says AIDS he had. And that bad. In America, we must help the poor, that one. And the rich ones must help the poor, that one. But I hear they want to fingerprint who won welfare, that bad. Even senior citizens are here, that bad. 10,000 Jews stood on Eastern Parkway when Rabbi Menachem died the other day. That good, yes. But the same Jews don't want Labor Day to continue. They want to move him from Dr. Atlantic Avenue. That bad. God bless.
You know, ChalkDUST was also a victim of the art form that he travels the world performing, you know. Almost 30 years ago, when he started to sing Calypso, he was fired from his teaching job by the Trinidad and Tobago government because it was in poor taste to be a Calypsonian. You see what I'm saying? The Calypsonian was an outcast. He was the dropout from school, and high society just will not associate themselves with Calypsonian. Today, almost 30 years later, the same system of government granted him study leave to complete a PhD on the evolution of Calypso. And he got his PhD last year. Isn't that good? Thanks, ChalkDUST.